President Biden out west on a mission to save the planet from climate Armageddon. Joe touting his efforts to fight climate change during a 3-day field trip. And it looks like he got the senior discount on the Grand Canyon tour. The president appearing to get lost in the bushes, and his thoughts.
Grand Canyon, one of the Earth's 9 wonders, wonders of the world. Literally. Think of that. You know, it's amazing. Enduring symbol of America to the entire world.
It's a wonder he's president. It's 7 natural wonders of the world, Mr. President. Eventually, Gramps found his way to a TV camera, sitting down with the Weather Channel to ramble on more about global warming and even provide some quality pest control.
Are you prepared to declare a national emergency with respect to climate change?
I've already done that. We've conserved more land. We've moved into, we've rejoined the Paris Climate Accord. We've passed a $368 billion climate control facility. We're moving. It is the existential threat to humanity.
So you've already declared that national emergency?
Well, in the practice, you got a bug on it.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. So you've already declared that national emergency?
Practically speaking, yes.
Yeah.
Too bad the Weather Channel wasn't around to shield Joe from the Hunter hurricane. Our very own Peter Doocy literally hopping a fence to get Biden's first comments on his son's business dealings.
There's this testimony now where one of your son's former business associates is claiming that you were on speakerphone a lot with them talking business. Is that what?
Never talk business to anybody. And I knew you'd have a lousy question.
Well, why is that a lousy question?
Because it's not true.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, and it looks like the wheels in the climate bus are falling off. Joe and Kamala's beloved electric vehicle company is filing for bankruptcy despite all this cheerleading.
We're going to end up owning the future, I think, if we keep doing what we're doing. We ought to be the single most significant suppliers of electric buses and vehicles in the world before it's over. Right now, we're running way behind China, but you guys are getting us in the game.
There you go. Judge, welcome back. Good to see you.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be back at the table to rob some words from my fellow lepter.
You have a delightful vacation glow.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Looks like you must have had some fun, huh?
Yeah, a little hair and makeup.
Like to hear
we'll do
more
all
about
kinds
it.
of things later.
So, do you find it's funny that he is on the Weather Channel after, like, I don't know, what is it, like 20 phone calls where apparently he was only talking about the weather?
Well, you know, I think it's interesting because even when I was in Europe, I was reading about Devon Archer and all of the stuff that he started talking about in terms of Joe's being aware, not just being on a speakerphone, but being at dinners and other things. And it was rather stunning to me that nobody was talking about it in the mainstream media, but not so stunning. But I think this whole thing with the electric vehicles and Proterra, the thing that gets to me is Elizabeth Granholm. Okay, so she's the Secretary of Energy, correct?
Yeah.
And she's a woman who had invested in Proterra. And aside from the ethical issues of her promoting Proterra, you've got Biden and Kamala Harris specifically promoting a company that the Secretary of Energy has a vested interest in. She exercises her stock options and then sells her stock 12 days later, after the government has invested millions of dollars. I mean, this is about as conflict as anything I've seen, and I think it broaches on the issue of criminality. And you have to say to yourself, I mean, are these guys so corrupt that they're willing to do it in your face, and then the company goes bust? It's like Solyndra. We put all our taxpayers' dollars in it, and we make sure that the taxpayer is the last person to ever get paid back. But having said that, I just want to say one thing. When I was in Malta, there were all these little cars. And I said to one of the car drivers, I said, you guys all drive these tiny cars. Are they electric cars? And the man says to me, no, I hate electric cars. They burn, they go on fire all the time. Yeah. Now, that's just a comment from, a cab driver in Malta. So everybody knows that this electric vehicle thing is nonsense.
You know, I heard that when Joe first got to the Grand Canyon, his first words were, when did they put my face up here?
Yeah, because that would be a big monument.
Yeah,
and another wonder of the world.
Exactly.
He was about 800 miles south of where that would have actually taken place. I applaud Peter Doocy. I imagine that the president waved him over, and that's why the Secret Service let him crawl over a fence. I would say don't try that at home or around the Secret Service, unless you get the explicit invitation. What I think is interesting is that now the White House will say the president answered this. Well, no, now, because now you just contradicted your press secretary who contradicted herself. So at some point, somebody is going to get a chance to actually ask President Biden a question where he's not surrounded by people saying, that's enough, after one little question like that. So that's not good enough. On the climate thing, Biden has spent a historic amount of money to try to deal with climate change, and he has a 57% disapproval rating on climate change, especially from the left. They're not happy. So the left has created a monster that they can't control, and they're not done yet. This is an amazing thing I learned this week. So the trucking industry, the manufacturers of the trucking industry are facing some really big regulations. They're coming down the pike January 1st. They have to go to this electric vehicle nonsense. Okay, maybe it's a worthwhile goal. However, get this. The manufacturers are saying you're doing it too much too fast. For a diesel burning engine, which is pretty clean, emissions are way down, it takes 15 minutes to fill up the truck, and that truck can then go 1,200 miles. With these electric vehicles, these trucks take 6 to 10 hours to charge, and they can go 250 miles.
Amazing.
You think that's not going to increase prices for absolutely everybody because everything that gets delivered is going to take so much longer?
That is crazy, Jesse. Do you think he went on the Weather Channel because he loves it when Hunter makes it rain?
Nah. He's never talking to his son about the rain, right?
Yes.
Or anybody. You know who owns the Weather Channel? This big Democrat donor named Byron Allen. He bought it for $200 million because he said that people are all going to die unless we warn them that they're all going to die. So this is just like the safest possible space that he could possibly go. And she asks him, when are you going to declare a climate emergency? Is that on, as KJP would say, that's not top of mind? No one is out there clamoring, when are you going to declare a climate emergency? And his answer was gobbledygook. He goes, we spent $300 billion on a climate control facility. I would love to see this facility.
What is it?
That's going to control the climate. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And then he just basically walls off the entire 1 million acres around the Grand Canyon for uranium mining. So now we're completely dependent on uranium from the Russians and the Kazakhstanis, 2 countries that just happen to pay his son a lot of money and give him a Porsche. The EV bus deal is a pump and dump scheme. You had Granholm, you had Al Gore, you had Soros, all pour money into this stupid electric bus company, and the buses never worked. They broke down all over the country. A lot of them caught fire, and then now it's a penny stock. So there needs to be an investigation there. How are you going to say I never talked to them about business? You were at a dinner with a Burisma executive for an hour. Okay, what'd you talk about that? Did you talk about the weather for an hour, Joe Biden? Or how about they have a stationery from the vice president thanking Devon Archer for going into business with your son? Okay, so you're going into business with my son, but you don't know what the business is? Or how about the voicemail? Oh, yeah, I read the New York Times article about the business that you're dealing with China. You're in the clear. Give me a call. Come on, Jessica. Come on.
Yeah, come on, Jessica. I don't even know what that means.
Come on.
You know what it means.
Well.
Can I go?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. Oh, of course. If I want to talk about climate change, I'm going to go on the Weather Channel to talk about climate change. It seems like a pretty obvious
That's so
place.
vain.
Not just me. I mean, anyone. Like, if Republicans cared about climate change, then they should also go on the Weather Channel to talk about climate change. Now to Devon Archer. So the testimony, and he wasn't under oath, but he still wasn't allowed to lie to them, was terrible for the Republicans. Jim Comer didn't even show up to think, well, let's use real words then instead of laughing or saying, come on. He was asked, if someone concluded from the 1023 form that you all think is so important that Joe Biden was bribed, would you disagree with that? Yeah, I would, Devon Archer said that.
What does he know about that?
Yeah.
Well, then he doesn't matter. Then Devon Archer is either the crux of the puzzle that shows that this is a mob family, or he doesn't matter.
No, it matters when he's in the middle of it. If he's in the middle of a dinner, then it matters. If it's something that he's not there, then it doesn't matter.
Okay. Victor Shokin was not good for Burisma, as I've been telling you, as has been widely reported, as the entire Western world.
Why?
Because he wasn't investigating
Yes,
the corruption.
he was.
No,
That-
he
that's-
wasn't.
He was seizing their cars.
Well, wait
guys-
a minute. Then what was he doing? What was Shokin
I'm
doing?
so glad that you're back. Okay, hold on one second.
Oh, that's not good.
Did Hunter ever ask Joe to take any official actions? Devin Archer, he did not. Pretty
How would
clear
he
language.
know? They
Then
talk
what is
every
the-
talk on
day.
the
That's
phone
whole
every
point.
day.
Oh, also the calls, which there are 20 calls over the course of a decade,
That he
he said
witnessed.
weren't just the weather. He said they did talk about family
That was
and
a
fishing.
wink and a nod. Did you see the interview? He goes,
There's a
yeah,
new-
yeah, we talked about the weather.
You guys will say anything.
No, that's what he said.
There's a new oversight memo that's out today, which again does not explain what services were provided
Exactly.
by the Bidens.
Exactly.
They didn't have any services.
Why
They
is he
don't have
getting
a
the money?
Then
business.
what did they do? They're
Exactly. We're asking the same
Oh,
question.
No, they
There's
wasn't.
no-
They
They
withheld
fired the
our
prosecutor.
tax- and
They
they
did
got the
not.
Chinese
taxpayer
kid into
money.
school.
I should have said this last week. The IMF, which you said we run, stands for the International
We fund the
Monetary.
IMF.
Everybody
It's our rich
funds
people.
the IMF.
It's our rich guys trying to
Greg,
get the
it's
prosecutor
great to
away
go
from a
ahead.
company
I had
that we
too
want
much
to do
peace
business
and
with.
quiet on my boat.
Well, it's over. Welcome
All right,
back.
I think we should move on. I think we solved one of the world's most pressing problems by yelling. You know, it's an underrated art. Just yell. That's all you got to do.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.